Welcome everyone. Greetings from the universe. We welcome you to our show, Celestra's Wisdom, with Shelley Celestra and me, your host, Ishana Sophia. On this program, Shelley Celestra brings you new tools for healing, for spiritual healing. We're coming to you from beautiful northern New Mexico, and thank you for listening today. Today's date is June 26th, 2017. Please note, the information on this program is provided for educational purposes only and is not meant to provide medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, or to take the place of medical care for maladies that are physical, psychological, or emotional. The purpose of this program is to share the research and personal experience of the speakers in spiritual healing by working with our subtle bodies and our own divine energy to bring cleansing, balance, and harmony within. On your journey of self-healing, we hope to help you ground your divinity in the body in order to expand your light and to provide new tools for spiritual healing. Our goal is your self-empowerment that comes with the knowing and accepting of the truth of your divine self as healer. Before we start, Shelley, I have a special announcement today. And our announcement is that we invite our viewers to send questions to Shelley Celestra at our email address, celestranm@gmail.com. Please send questions about universal and personal healing. Shelley will be selecting questions that are timely for universal healing. And we will present these questions and answers on this channel. I'd like to tell you a little about our featured teacher, Shelley Celestra. Through her constant communication with Source, Prime Creator, divine beings, and extraterrestrials, Shelley Celestra has the unique ability to bring forth powerful wisdom teachings for the times in which we live. You will find insight and self-empowerment as you learn new tools for healing in these videos. You may want to watch the videos in chronological order to build your foundation of knowledge in these new tools for universal healing. Now let me turn the mic over to you, Shelley Celestra.
Good morning, this is Shelley Celestra, and I bring you greetings from Divine Source and the united light beings of the great universe. We will be talking about topics such as self-healing, problem-solving for issues from entity attachment and clearing, to physical, mental, and emotional clearing and harmonizing. At the end of each session, I will address questions posed by listeners.
Okay, thank you, Shelley. Well, Shelley, I think you have selected some topics today from questions presented by your viewers and your students. So what would you like to begin with today?
The first thing I want to address is what I call the walking wounded. Many of you out there are dealing with deep psychological, emotional, mental, spiritual, soul-filled, physical wounds. They affect you every day of your life. They cause you to step back when you should step forward, or close your eyes when you need to see clearly. And I want to talk about some ways to help yourselves and others deal with these wounds. Everybody has them. No matter who it is, you don't get through life without running into challenges. From rape or sexual trauma to people being killed, murdered in your families, just all kinds of issues create these wounds in us. In order to help heal these wounds, one of the best tools you can learn to do is expand your pain. No matter what kind of pain it is, including physical pain, you can learn to relax and work your way through it, especially during the times when it becomes incredibly hard, when you feel like everything is smothering you or falling in on you and you can't breathe. So my recommendation is to find a quiet space, even if you have to go into the bathroom at work. It doesn't matter. Just find a quiet space where you can take in some nice deep breaths, and as you breathe in, You're breathing in peace and stillness. And as you breathe out, you're expanding that pain that you feel through every cell of your being. When you expand pain, no matter what kind of pain it is, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, soul, it doesn't matter. If you expand it throughout all your cells, it allows you to see and feel more patience with yourself, but it helps you see your way through whatever the issue is that has caused the wound in the first place. When we hold on to any kind of pain, we make it into a hard ball, or we crystallize it inside ourselves, because we think a good way, if we encapsulate it like that, that we won't have to deal with it in our everyday lives. The truth of it is, though, when we have a solid energetic field like that inside us, whether it's an actual physical block, which people will do, or it is an etheric block, it's still a block of energy. So anytime something comes towards you, let's say an empathic vibration that allows you to feel what someone else is feeling in your surroundings, it hits against that barrier that you've created, and then that barrier makes you feel like you're bleeding. It makes you feel that wound open up all over again. And right now, with all the trauma that we have in the world, I'm watching people do this more and more, where they're closing down and closing in and creating a bigger and bigger block inside themselves, instead of doing the opposite, which is just releasing that block of energy, breathing through it, and expanding that energy of pain throughout all that you are. Even if it's physical pain, this works. One of the easiest ways to do this is to do the breathing exercise. But if you can go into a meditation, you'll find that it works on an even deeper level, until you get to the point that you don't carry that pain around like you did before, and you will find that it doesn't get in your way like it does now. The reason I'm dealing with this issue with you right at the moment is because so many people that I'm communicating with are feeling the wounds of the world, and they feel like that there's nothing to be happy about what is taking place now, that everything leads to despair and anxiety and anger and fear. So much so that everyone's amygdala, that lower brain where the fight or flight comes from, and the adrenals are completely exhausted from trying to keep us safe. And that's what those areas of our bodies do. They think that they're protecting us, that they're watching out for us. But in reality, it ends up causing more harm, because they are overwhelmed. We are overwhelmed as a society most of the time. If you are stuck on watching the news constantly, whether it be alternative news or mainstream media, you can easily get caught up in the fears of the moment until they overwhelm you, until they feel like they're smothering you. And one of the best things you can do is keep yourself grounded in your body. And it's as simple as making a statement: I am grounded in my body. That means your soul and spirit are grounded in you. They're not flying above your head. They're not barely touching you. They are grounded inside your core. The second thing you can do is remember your rubaya. Your rubaya is your pure heart, and it sits at the front of the physical heart. And the pure heart is a powerful tool that can protect us, watch over us, and help us keep ourselves open at the same time. If you anchor yourself from your rubaya to the rubaya at the center of the earth every day, you will feel more grounded, more settled, more able to handle whatever life throws at you on a daily basis. If you then anchor from your rubaya to the rubaya of Source, the rubaya of the sun, you will find that you are anchored above and below, so that you are connected to the all and the every, instead of keeping yourself separate. This is a really important step to take. If you do this and then you sit quietly and breathe in and breathe out and allow the universe to work with you, you can let go of a lot of your woes and the cares about the world. If you breathe in faith and breathe out lack of acceptance, so that lack of acceptance doesn't live in you anymore. If you give that gift of lack of acceptance to the universe by sending it into the solar rays, the solar rays will transform that energy, turn it into love, turn it into faith, into trust, and return that energy to you. That Rubaya energy that you have flowing between yourself and the sun, which is the Rubaya of God, you will find that you can accept more easily that which takes place in your life. It does not throw you curveballs constantly. It won't create anxiety. Right now in the world, we have wars going on everywhere. We have all kinds of darkness and negativity. I don't need to explain that to you. You know that. What I do want to tell you is we have a lot of positive things going on in the world right now. Several of them include the fact that devices that have been used for a very long time to control humans, to control outcomes in situations, have been deconstructed so that they're no longer capable of causing harm or changing frequencies on people so that they become imbalanced or unhealthy. That is a huge positive thing that has happened on the planet. Another thing is our planet has realigned with all the planets in our solar system, those that are visible and those that are not visible yet. All told, at this moment, we have 13 planets in the solar system. And all those planets influence our planet just as our planet influences those. The good thing that I can tell you right now is Jupiter and Uranus are working together on easing the stress on the planet, on releasing the war mentality that has caused such traumatic and serious injury to the collective consciousness as well as individual consciousness. They are accepting that warlike energy and they are working between them. They have created an infinity loop that goes from one planet to the other, and that infinity loop actually draws to its center all this warring energy that is causing such harm here. It's dissipated throughout that infinity loop, just as we were talking about with the expansion of our pain. And the infinity loop absorbs that war energy, it transforms it into peace and harmony, and then that energy is released back from the center of the infinity loop and returned to the earth. It is actually creating harmonic resonance on this planet that we have not seen in a very long time. These are very positive steps, and though they are etheric at the moment, they are becoming more physical all the time as our body accepts the physicality of it. If you have hope, it's a gift. If you have faith, it's the grace of God. Having faith in the self, faith in the universe, in your family and friends, that faith can see you through anything, no matter how hard it seems. Faith is all about expansion. It's about opening up and allowing instead of holding these hard kernels in ourselves that block. When we quit blocking energy, we find flow. And when you have flow, you have grace. You have love. You have understanding. You receive gifts. You no longer feel sacrifice. Those are the positive things that I see going on in the universe at this time. We also have galactic beings that are here for us. They are, at this time, on the other side of the moon for the biggest part, though we do have some on planet. They are here to support us, to guide us, to give us their wisdom from past times that were even more difficult than what we're going through now. They are going to become more visible to the human consciousness, and that will happen very soon. It is a very positive step. They are not to be feared. They are light beings. Ishana, did you have any more questions from the audience?
No, I have a question from me. And my question is, just to recap about Jupiter and Uranus, did you say that they are helping to cleanse this warlike energy from the Earth or from our entire solar system?
From the Earth and the solar system.
Okay. All right. Why is it so important for all of our planets to be in alignment?
A deliberate attempt was made by several governments to throw planets out of alignment to create a, not a very scientific term, but a wobble.
Mm-hmm.
And the wobble creates more confusion that allows governments to do more behind-the-scenes dark creation, thinking that with wobbles like this, it causes us to lose focus, which it does.
Mm-hmm.
It causes us to lose focus.
And
So
they're planning on creating more warlike situations.
Yes, because they make money off war.
And they had the power to do this because? How did they gain the power to do this? Our simple earthly governments.
Well, they've had a lot of help from other cultures that are warlike, have given them tools, or well, I shouldn't say tools, devices that they've used over centuries to block and create harm and create implants in people. And those devices are very rapidly coming to an end as we are learning how to melt them down so that they no longer exist, so that they can no longer use technologies like MK Ultra and some of the others that we know about.
So these technologies were from extraterrestrial origin.
Yes.
Those dark, negative extraterrestrials no longer have any presence or power in the solar system.
They do not.
Okay. And all of heaven is coming together to melt down this technology.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Now you had more to say before I interrupted you.
I did. I don't remember.
That's all right. All right. Let me just go back here. Would you say a little bit more about how the wounded heart has so much pain, but we hold on to it and we make it into a tight little ball? And then you said by expanding the pain that we will be inspired and just know how to work through it easier. Will you talk some more about that?
Sure. I guess the important thing to remember is that the Rubaya is a pure heart. That doesn't mean perfect. If you are in a human body, you are not perfect. When you're perfect, you don't need to be here. Perfection isn't something to aspire to. Being as pure as possible means that you do everything you can in a light-filled way. So the pure heart accepts all the pain of the physical heart, the heart that carries around our emotions that we experience on a daily basis, all the empathing that we do, the empathy we feel for others, and the empathy we feel for ourselves. So that pure heart has the ability to accept with loving grace all the pain that we experience in our physical heart, in our emotional body, to take that and say, I love you. I love the pain until the pain no longer exists. Because love breaks down barriers. It creates expansion. It creates light. And if you expand that pain, as I said before, you will find that the pure heart begins taking over the entire heart, so that your ability to empath is moved through that instead of through the physical heart.
Okay, so you're saying that our pure heart, our Vibhaya, can't really cleanse the pain out of our heart until we expand it?
Because it's a personal choice.
I see.
To hold on and to create these blocks, that's a personal choice.
Mm-hmm.
And whether we hold it in our, what we call our emotional body, or we hold it in our physical heart, we end up causing harm to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And these blocks are the things that can destroy us and create more imbalances, both chemical, hormonal, until we end up with some kind of physical representation of what's taking place in the body. Mm-hmm. So the pure heart absorbs that and says, I love you. I understand your fear and I understand your pain. Let me help you expand it so that it no longer smothers you. It sets you free.
Okay. So I'm from an age group in which I grew up watching John Wayne movies. Mm-hmm. And my parents were big fans of John Wayne movies. And one could say, well, I think he even has a movie called True Grit.
Yes.
And it's all about you grit your teeth and you carry on. You don't feel anything. You just get the work done, you know. So we've all had a lot of training in that. So it sounds like by focusing on expanding the pain, that will be a new tool for all of us to use to let go and find our own inspiration within our own souls to move through the healing.
Yes, because for many centuries we were taught we were supposed to sacrifice ourselves, mm-hmm. our needs, our feelings, our thoughts, mm-hmm. for the greater whole. But this message of sacrifice is dark and negative, and it doesn't help anyone. If you come from a place of sacrifice, you're already dooming yourself to fail. You have to think of it as being a gift, gifting yourself, gifting your time, your money, to whatever it is that you're going to do. Do it from a place of wanting to assist, not from having to assist. If you learn to gift instead of sacrifice, and if you learn to transform the things you've already sacrificed into gifting, you'll find an easing inside you that you haven't experienced in this lifetime. I guarantee.
Okay, so in closing, I'd like for you to give us another taste of that good news, because I think in looking at the world that we can see through our television sets, it looks like things are getting worse instead of better, or that they've just been really bad for a long time, and it's very discouraging. So would you repeat some of those good news statements again? What do you think is the most important good news that would help lift us up a little bit?
Okay, well, I'll tell you one thing that I think would help a lot of people is we have a lot of young people out there that are in their teens and under, mm-hmm. that are doing really miraculous and wonderful things for our planet. They are making changes that the adults haven't seen clearly enough to do.
I wish we could know about them from the news.
And you can, but it's usually buried. It's so mm-hmm. buried that people don't pick it up.
Even our spiritual channels on YouTube, even our spiritual and alternative sources of news, they aren't reporting on those younger kids. Yeah. But we are starting to see some 20-somethings and 30-somethings have some really light-filled programs.
Yes.
You know.
The ones in their 20s and 30s have gone from being aqua, which is what they were born as, into being crystal, which is what all these young kids are that are in their teens and under. And that crystal energy allows them to see crystal clear. The title is perfect for what these kids can do. From a young boy who learned how to make prosthetic parts for young people that couldn't afford them with a 3D printer, to children that are out there helping the homeless by giving them soap and washcloths and
food drives.
Yes.
Food drives, yeah.
All these kids are passionate, and that's the answer. They have passion for what they do because they know humanity needs help, and they're here to help them. So the ones in their 20s and 30s are learning and gathering the right frequencies from the younger people so that they can express that and expand it so that it starts affecting us in our 50s and 60s as we're all moving into that crystalline state so that we can see more clearly. Another thing I want to tell you is a lot of what you see as absolute terror and trauma out in the universe on the planet has been exaggerated deliberately to keep you focused on the dark. And I want you to remember that, because a lot of the scenes that they're showing you on the television screens throughout the world, it's old stuff that isn't even taking place anymore.
Is it true, do you think, that they actually do sometimes have actors portraying these scenes?
Yes.
Okay, so that's all over the alternative news that actors are portraying the scenes. And that, yes, sometimes people die, but usually the trauma of the crisis has been exaggerated.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
it's an excellent way to control.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to be controlled by mainstream media or alternative media, your best bet is to keep expanded, and remember to keep in that expanded state. And if you find yourself closing yourself in again, push it out. Breathe out that expansion. Allow yourself the energies within your entire system to flow so that the universe can work with you and not be bouncing off you because you're blocking.
I just thought of another question, if you have time. Okay. There are a lot more people on YouTube that are coming forward as people that are very experienced with speaking light language, and they offer experiences to other people of activating their own light language. Do you have anything to say about light language? I'm fascinated with it at the moment.
Okay. There are a lot of light languages. There certainly isn't only one. There is a divine language, which most of the light languages have come from. And that divine language is an ancient language, but as things change in the universe, the divine language and the light languages change as well. They're powerful tools to use. Learning a light language can open you up in ways that few other things can. Learning the divine language the same way.
Okay. Thank you very much, Shelley. Do you have any closing statements before we end our program today?
No.
Okay. So we want to thank our listeners for joining Celestra's Wisdom today. We hope you find this information helpful on your journey and that you will tune in again to see what's new. Shelley, would you like to offer the blessing in divine language?
Certainly. Bo elehu es ad balu ela oles ame am. Meaning, may universal harmony, peace, and understanding live in you always.
So this is your host, Ishana Sophia, closing the program and sending you peace and love and healing to all beings from my heart to yours. Good day, and thank you for your presence with us.